Yeah.
I see where we are.
All right.
Top of my list. We're realtor time. Come on.
Hang on. Now my phone's ringing. Jesus.
See, come on, people. All right. Well, I'm just going to start. So
Hold on.
Oh,
I'm back. So
All right.
I had a specific intro today. So we did it on our accountability call today. We talked about paying it forward. So today or tomorrow, when you're out, let's pay it forward to somebody. And then next week we can talk about it on the next Modern Agent Blueprint. So I'm going to go to Starbucks drive-through and I'm going to pay for the person behind me. I'm going to make sure it's not a van full of people.
I always do that every time. Like I'll be at McDonald's. I'll be like, oh, I'm going to buy the person behind me. They're like, their meal's $46. I'm like, well,
whoops.
My card.
So let's all do something. Let's all do something and pay it forward. I think that would be something cool. And we can talk about it next week before we start our Modern Agent Blueprint.
Cool. I love it.
We talked about that on the accountability call, right, Karen? Was that informative today?
It was, yeah.
Good. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. All right. So without further ado, thank you so much for being here, Modern Agent Blueprint. And I'm going to hand it over to Nicole to introduce the famous Nikki.
All right, everybody. Hi again. Thank you so much for joining us today. So our special guest and co-host, and you probably see her on here often, we have Nikki Wolfe today. She is a fantastic marketer and brand, like her brand is on point. And every time I see her stuff, you just know it's hers, regardless of whether her face is on that post or anything. She just does a really, really good job. And I am excited to hear what she's got to say about branding. So Nikki, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to share, I think I can do that here. Share my screen.
Yep.
Share screen. Okay. Where are we at here? Share. All right. Can you see what I'm seeing?
Yes.
Welcome to building your brand. All right. Hopefully I can get this to work. So,
put it on present mode at the top. There you go.
Present standard.
Yep.
There we go.
Perfect.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So let's get started here. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I was born and raised in the Toledo, Ohio area. I am a graduate of Bowling Green State University. Go Falcons. We just beat UT. I think it was last week, and that's like our rival. So that's pretty exciting. I majored in interior design and marketing. So obviously you can see how a lot of what I do plays into my background. Before I got into real estate, I was a commercial interior designer in Southern California, in Newport Beach area specifically. So after graduation, I moved out to California with my my now ex-husband. He went to school out there for grad school at the Southern California Institute of Architecture, and I worked and found an amazing design firm in Orange County. So I did a lot of commercial stuff as far as like penthouses. I worked with a lot of builders doing their spec homes. So I would pick out all of their finishes, and then all the way from picking out like their faucets to their carpet to staging it in the end. So it was really full service and really helped prepare me for real estate now, and staging and everything like that. I'm an avid traveler. I love to travel. I was an owner of a nationally recognized event design company. So after I moved back to Toledo after California, I moved back here to get married, start a family. It's a lot more affordable here than Southern California. So that's what drew us back. But to my surprise, and not really to my surprise, I couldn't really find a job here that was of the caliber that I was used to out there. So I decided to start my own business doing event design and coordination. So what separated me from everyone else in the area is I took my design knowledge and my design background and custom tailored events. So I was designing everything from the stationery down to the table linens, and then executing that for the day of. So these events, I even did like large corporate events. I owned that for about 10 years and then decided to sell and get into real estate. And I have loved it ever since. I have a 13-year-old daughter named Isabella, and I have 2 stepsons, Anthony and Connor. I also enjoy all sports. So I play softball, I've played basketball, I love to golf, and occasionally in the winter when we can't golf or play softball, I like to go bowling. What else do you do in Northwest Ohio but bowl? All right, so that's
How about cow tipping?
I have not went cow tipping. Ran through some cornfields for sure, but cow tipping, not so much. All right, so let's get into branding. A lot of people confuse branding with marketing per se, but they are 2 totally different things. So while I will show you how to incorporate branding with Canva, I feel like it's essential to know what branding is first and foremost. So personal branding, we are realtors, so we sell us. People buy us, they have to like, know, and trust us. So what is personal branding? According to Amazon's founder, branding is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So when people think of brands, oftentimes they're thinking about Nike, Apple, Lululemon, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, like all of these big companies. But we're not those big companies. So how do we brand ourselves versus branding like these large businesses do? Now, a strong brand identity helps you stand out from competitors. It helps you grow your audience on social media, and hopefully, if you're doing it properly, attract your specific target audience. So things that your specific brand identity include, they're your brand colors, what your logo is, what your specific content is, the look, feel, and aesthetic. I always tell people your brand is your vibe. What kind of vibe are you giving off? Because that is the type of people and the type of clients you're going to ultimately attract. And keep in mind, it doesn't just go to the surface level of your logo and your colors. It also translates then into what your brand voice is, the tone and how you communicate via text, email, your website, your marketing, all of those things come into play. And obviously your brand mission, your vision, and your values. Okay, so brand identity versus brand image. Now, when I was doing a little market research and I was playing around with different logos for what I wanted, different brand colors and stuff, I personally knew the kind of brand identity I wanted to portray. But I wasn't necessarily sure that when I was in that creative design phase that I was doing a good job of executing my vision. So I came up with a few different concepts and kind of ran them by people to see what the outsider's opinion was. So when I asked people to look at my brand identity, things that they came back and said were, they thought that it looked clean, it was modern, professional, polished, and it reminded them of somebody or something that is successful. And those are all things that I was aiming for. So when I finally honed in on that, I knew I had reached my ultimate goal. Now, where some people get confused is brand identity versus brand image. The difference between the two, the brand identity is everything that your brand is made up of. So we're talking your logo, your color palette, your branding voice. The brand image is a result of a very strong brand identity. It's how you're portraying yourself to the outside, world, whether that's social media or what have you. It's how people get to know you and what they think of you when they see your brand identity. So where to start? Because everyone's like, oh, I'm just going to come up with a logo. Well, you need a logo, I think that's great, but that should not be your first jumping point. So first you need to do a little bit of research. You need to decide, how do you want to be seen? So in order to create this authentic, cohesive personal brand, you need a clear focus on how you want people to perceive you. So I personally started by asking myself a few questions. What makes me unique and allows me to offer my audience something other people don't? So for me, I was playing up on the fact that I am a designer and I wanted my brand to represent that. What are my strengths? Well, my strengths were that I have a creative eye and a really great attention to detail. I have really good problem solving skills. I understand functionality, safety, and the appearance of space and how important they are. So I wanted all of that to be translated into my branding. Do I have a distinct style? I personally do. So I have always loved clean lines and mid-century architecture. That goes kind of back to my design and architecture background. To me, I feel like they symbolize simplicity, luxury, extreme attention to detail, and it's all very impactful with being very minimal. So those are things that I wanted to incorporate into my brand. What colors did I feel best represented me and the client that I wanted to attract? So when I was brainstorming, I kept coming back to black and white because the keywords that I kept seeing and hearing were classy, sophisticated, and educated. And to me, those colors were black and white. And I also knew that black and white could translate well no matter what brokerage I was at. So if I, switched brokerages, my main goal was I was branding myself to myself and not to my brokerage, which I think is extremely important because people are going to hire you for you, not you because you work for Remax or whoever you work for. Who's your ideal client? This is a big one, especially in my particular market. I didn't really want to pigeonhole myself because, our average sales price of a home is on the lower end side. I didn't want to just market myself specifically to investors. I wanted to have a broad range. So I had to do a little digging there. I wanted to find out what my clients' likes and dislikes are. What other brands do they associate with so that I could associate with them as well? Does that all make sense? If you guys have questions, jump in, feel free to ask at any point. Okay, so from there, once you have answered some of those questions and you're kind of creating an outline of how you want your brand style to look, you should also research your competition. This is very important. You want to know what they're doing and how you can do it better than them. So for me, when I was building any new business, I wanted to know what they were doing because I wanted to market myself differently. I didn't want to be a knockoff of them. I wanted to one-up them. So what are they doing that I can do better than them? So obviously research your competitors. And let's see, know who you're speaking to. This is important because if you are, say you're going after new buyers, then a lot of your content should be geared towards people purchasing new homes. What kind of grants are available out there to them? Financing options for them. Now, somebody that may be downsizing that has purchased a home several times, you probably are not going to market to them the same way you would as a first-time homeowner. So definitely figure out who it is you are talking to and make sure that your branding is specific to them.
Nikki, can I say something?
Yeah, go for it.
So one thing that we had just happened to us recently was a new group joined the same brokerage we're at in our area and used the exact same group name as us. So we had to go to that person and say, hey, listen, we've been here for 4 years. You're going to have to change your name. So if you are thinking about rebranding, do your due diligence. Like we're real estate agents. We know how to do due diligence. Do due diligence on your branding too. Make sure that there's not another name exactly the same or so close to it that you could get yourself into trouble. Really do your research and make sure that you're, coming up with a unique name that, not close to your area.
Did they know? Did they do it intentionally? Do you know?
I don't know. I think they were like, oh, we've been brainstorming for weeks. And we're like, well, clearly you didn't Google it. You find us.
That's awful.
That topic's for another discussion.
Yeah, I don't think that they knew. I don't think they realized, but either way, that's part of it is you need to make sure, you wouldn't want to have another Starbucks, you know what I'm saying? It's just, you got to pay attention to those things when you're rebranding or if you're looking to brand a different name.
Well, and I see that a lot in logos. Like I love looking at people's logos. I love picking them apart. But Canva is a great resource, especially if you're not, designer inclined, that they have pre-made logos. I will caution you, don't just use one of their pre-made logos. Add something to it, even if it's like a key icon or something, add something to it to make it yours. Because again, you don't want your logo to look like 50 other people's logos, because then that does not make you original anymore. So finding a way to, and I'll get into this in the next couple slides, but finding a way to even moderately edit it to truly make it yours. Just changing the color isn't going to do it. So, don't be afraid to customize it to fit your needs. Okay. So number 3, establishing a tone of voice. So branding goes so much deeper than just the visual appearance like we talked about. In order to maintain that consistency, you need to get clear on what kind of words make them distinctly yours. So for any copy that you use, whether it's a status update, tweet, copy on your website, conversation with clients, thank you cards that you're writing, whatever it may be, maintain a specific tone that accurately reflects you. So sophisticated brands, you're not going to see them sending out emails that say, hey, what's up? Or, what are you doing today? It's going to be more tailored, more, what's the word I'm looking for? Formal, I guess you could say. Now, if you're talking to a friend, that's different, but we're talking about branding yourself in general. So those are things that you're going to want to think about as you are making posts and doing blogs and things like that. Make sure that the language that you're using is consistent with the brand you're trying to represent. Okay, so now in Canva. So once we've talked about doing all of your background research and developing who your target market is, how you want to be perceived and all of that, I highly suggest starting with developing a brand board on Canva. So who can tell me what a brand board is? Have you seen them before? Have you made one? I know Nicole's made one because I have hers in the next slide. Anyone? Lee, have you made a brand board?
Actually not for me personally, but for Town Sites, which is the product that we're launching, is we created 6 different brand boards for 6 different styles of websites.
Good. I like it. They're very, very beneficial. All right. So branding board examples. So Nicole did a really good job with her branding board. The thing that's nice about these branding boards is it's consistent. So you have your logo here. She has 3 different variations of logos. Actually, Nicole, do you want to walk through kind of what you were thinking when you created yours?
Right. So, okay. So let me go back really quick about logos. So when I first got into real estate, I made a logo that was kind of similar to yours. Mine was more of a square shape.
Okay.
I was having trouble figuring out how to lay it out on my social media posts. Like it just never seemed to fit. It felt clunky. It just didn't feel right for me. So I wanted something more horizontal. So I went on Etsy and I looked at some and I was like, none of these really fit me. And I found this font and I really like the font. So my top one that says Nicole is with real estate at the top, that is the logo I use. I was kind of playing around with different logo options because I think it's really smart to have a couple different options. Now, I don't use either of these two bottom ones. I created my own logo in Canva by messing with the sizes. So I used the same font and I made my N and my E bigger. And then the rest of my font is just the smaller writing. But having like a secondary or even like a third logo is really helpful for, you know, just putting your logo on different things. Maybe like a seal on an envelope, you want to have like, you know, a different logo than your full logo. It just kind of depends on what you're trying to do. I wanted some kind of phrase or motto or something that I felt encompassed my business. And so I use everyone deserves a place to call home. And when I use that, I actually do the home in my font. So I actually bought that font. And if you have Canva Pro, you can upload the font into Canva Pro and use that font for all of your stuff in your brand board on there. All of my marketing has my pink blazer. I have it on my cards. It's every profile picture I have has my picture with my pink jacket. So I don't use that pink really in my branding, but I use it as like a pop of color. So I have my pink as part of my brand board because sometimes I'll throw in that pink on a random post, or maybe I'll use it as like an accent color, but my colors now are more in like the blue gray range. Somebody just asked where I buy fonts. If you are ready to dive down into a 3 or 4 hour excursion, go to Creative Market. And there is so many fonts. So you don't, and you can, if you find a font, so actually I'm in another group and somebody posted something with this font and I was like, I love that font. So I just screenshot it, and you can Google font finder. And I figured out what the font was by just uploading a picture. There's free fonts, which Nikki just posted. There's the font, there's like Font Squirrel or something. There's a whole bunch of different ones where you could just download the font, upload it into Canva if Canva doesn't already have that font for you. But I had like a CE class that was like boring me to death. And I spent that whole thing pretty much looking at Creative Market, but they have all kinds of stuff on there. So I just looked at the fonts, found it there. You see on the bottom, my 3 fonts. So I have a headline font, which is my main font that I use for my logo, but I don't want to use that font on everything because it's a little scribbly and sometimes it just doesn't come across great. So I use it as an accent font. My copy font is the second one. That's the one I use for most of my stuff. And then an accent font would be your another accent to what you're writing. So depending on what you're putting for your post, you could have 3 different fonts if you wanted to. I usually try to keep it to 2 unless I do something like funky with it. So that's my brand board.
Thank you. So you could see the other brand board, it goes into a little bit more detail where they were designing what their social media icons would look like, their Instagram highlight covers, all of that. Now, those are things that you should take into consideration because you're going to have to be branding them as well because they are part of social media. All right. Next, we have setting up your brand in Canva. So this is the brand board that I created. Down below in the bottom here were inspiration photos that when I was trying to collect to figure out what my brand color should be, what the feel should be, this is what I gravitated towards. So this flooring right here next to the Range Rover is actually where I got my idea for my logo. The different colors of the hexagons, the shape. I have always just been drawn to geometric shapes. I don't know what it is, but I love it. So I was like, you know what? This is me. We're just going to go for it. So, and then again, I was pulled into the black and white. I really liked the black and white styling of the Range Rover. It to me represents a certain class. The tiles in this bathroom, I love the composition. The logo here where it says modern, I loved the clean lines. I knew that when I saw that, I was like, how can I incorporate that with my logo? Lucky for me, my initials are very linear. So it worked in my favor. So that is where I drew my inspiration from, and then worked with, again, different fonts, what fonts that I thought would, again, represent that modern feel. But I also wanted to add an element that, the accent element. So I have a cursive font there as well. Now with Canva, if you don't already have Canva Pro, I highly suggest making the investment. It is cheap. It is like 12. I think it's even cheaper than $12.99 a month, because I just renewed.
Well, if you buy it for the year, it's way cheaper. And
I think it was like $110 or something for the year. So I am a very frugal person. And for years, I was working off the free version. And let me tell you, the time that you spend trying to do what you can do with Canva Pro, it is not worth it. Spend the $100, get Canva Pro. The background remover tool is worth it, if nothing else. But you can create these brand boards and brand kits with the Canva Pro. And if you have a team, that is very beneficial, because you can share this with the team so that your branding is consistent across the board. One thing that's really nice is you have a lot of cloud storage with the Canva Pro, a ton of free templates, and it allows you to upload those fonts like Nicole was talking about.
I also think one of the things with Canva too is they have the color palettes. So for people who are struggling on like brand colors, or like what you want, what colors you want, honestly, go to Pinterest and Google and just type in brand colors or brand boards or whatever, and brand palettes, and they'll come up with all kinds of things. The other thing that I've done in the past is you can do all kinds of stuff. I mean, make a folder of things you like just start putting pictures of stuff. Maybe it's vacation places, maybe it's clothes you like, maybe it's, different things like, home interiors, and then look for a common theme. Like, what are the colors that you see over and over and over again? Or
there will be a common theme. Like,
right.
You're attracted to these things for a reason.
Right. Or look at what the colors mean. Like when you're looking at like your brand values or your brand, like what your brand stands for, if your brand is like loyalty, honesty, like those are going to be the blues, you really think about like what you want. And I mean, I've really been trying to incorporate a little bit more greens, because I'm really into greens. And that can be, a whole bunch of different things. Like, it's trustworthy. It can mean wealth and money, along with like healing and all kinds of amazing things. So like really think about what you want your brand to be. And it doesn't have to be the same forever. Every brand evolves, so you can always change. You don't have to change brokerages or change whatever in order to rebrand. Just reinvent yourself. You have permission. So go ahead.
I wouldn't suggest rebranding too often, though, because then you're going to create brand confusion. Maybe stick with it for a few years. But yes, you see a lot of people do rebranding, because as times change, they want to refresh, just like you want to refresh your home. There's nothing wrong with refreshing your brand. Now, getting into Canva and how to translate your brand into Canva. So instead of starting from scratch every time, you're going to want to create a template. This will make your life so much easier. So if you take a look at my social media, you're going to see, a variety of these posts. So sold, clear to close, happy house anniversary, home sweet home. These are templates that I've created that are very similar in layout, whether it has my picture on there. The brokerage logo is usually in the same orientation. That I can just drag and drop different photos of the different houses and change out the text. This makes it so much easier. And most importantly, it keeps it consistent and cohesive across the board, which is how people are going to associate your brand with you when they're seeing it repetitively on social media. Okay, so start creating your templates. This does not necessarily mean that you have to reinvent the wheel. There are plenty of already made templates out there, but like I said, you're going to want to make it your own. So this is an example. I was trying to come up with a happy house anniversary post. So I typed in happy anniversary, the template. This was the template in Canva on the left, and this was my edits on the right. I made it match my brand colors, slapped my logo on it, got rid of some of the stuff I didn't want, like the big heart. I felt like I had enough hearts on there. But again, super simple, easy, and now it's more brand specific to me. Different templates you can incorporate into your business. So these are some of the templates that I have created. Just sold postcards, market flyer updates, testimonial posts, new listing flyers. These are all things that you should be considering that are your brand is going to translate into. So you can see how staying cohesive across the board is very important. What are some other templates that you guys have used that you think you could incorporate?
Open house templates.
Yes, open houses. Yep.
I like, I have some that I do for, when I have a house listed for sale, I have a counter display that has QR codes to the disclosures and to the website that my photographer does. So I have all of that and it's all branded to myself as well.
Okay, I'm writing this down. I love the idea of the QR code for disclosures.
I just upload,
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody's going to ask. I upload the disclosures to Google Drive, take that Google Drive link and put it right into Canva Pro, and it'll give you a QR code. And then you have that right on the counter. So if somebody wants to scan it and get the disclosures, it just takes them right to your Google Drive where they can download and look at them. Super.
That is perfect. So that is another good point about Canva Pro is the QR code capability. I mean, it is awesome. A very awesome feature that you guys should definitely take advantage of. Anybody else have some other ideas to share?
Here, I'll
Nope.
show you. I don't know if you guys can see on your,
Yeah.
but it's in a, I have it in a
Oh yeah.
thing called like a acrylic board.
Yeah, I
So
like that.
it's got my info, it's got the house, and that could just sit right there. And I actually moved it up high enough that I can put my cards in here if I want to. I have a different one, so I could stick
Oh.
my cards in here too. So if anybody has questions or the agent needs my info, it's all right there.
Smart. I like that. That's a really good idea. See, look at us taking ideas from each other. I love it.
It's called a mastermind for a reason.
Yeah.
Collaboration at
it.
its finest.
Okay, so another thing that's very important is to stay on brand with your design. So one of the biggest mistakes people make when using Canva is trying to do too much with their designs. Canva is an awesome tool, but it is so easy to get overloaded and just do too much. So here's a great example of what not to do on a flyer. Like, as you
so
can
much
see,
anxiety, like that is so much anxiety right there.
there's so much going on. I don't even know what it's for.
I don't understand what this is.
Hamfest, but I'm not sure. Okay. So this means obviously stay with your brand colors. They clearly don't have brand colors. They're using like the whole Crayola pack here. And they have no hierarchy of what is the very first thing your eyes should be drawn to. I don't even know, like nobody's going to read this because it's so distracting. You do not want that with your marketing material. So remember, consistency is key, and there needs to be a hierarchy of what your eye is drawn to when you're looking at your marketing material. Don't do this. Okay, so this is just a snapshot of some of my feeds. And thank you to Nicole for calling me out a long time ago. She's like, oh, I love your post, but where's your face? I need to see more of your face. So I'm like, dang it. So now you see a lot more of my face because I am Nikki Wolfe. I am my brand. And she was right. I needed to incorporate more of me in these things. So while it's great to have a logo, it is also great to slap your face on there. Do video. Video is so important. I know everybody hates the way they sound, hate the way they look. Get over it. Don't watch yourself. Just post it. And even, So I've been sick for like the last week and I had to hammer out some videos. I'm coughing in these videos. Like hey, that's life. That's what's happening. This is how you get me. People can relate. And I realized this by looking at the people that I was following on social media. Was I following the people that everything was completely scripted, or was I following people that just like grabbed their phone and was like, hey, I just had a shit day. Guess what happened with this closing? Those were the people that I was watching, because those are the people that I can relate to. So keep that in mind when you are trying to translate that into your social media posts. They need to be relatable, but they also need to be consistent. So unlike the last post that we just saw with the whole Crayola crayon deal, you don't want your feed to look like that. You want your feed to still have consistency. Even though I have photos of houses and clients and whatever, there's still a pretty consistent, theme in my posts. You see the black, white, and a little bit pop of color, but the texts are the same and they're cohesive around. Usually my outfits are, I try to stay on brand with my outfits. So like you see me in a lot of black and white or very neutral colors. If it's a pop of color, it's usually pink or yellow here, but it's very rare. Okay. Do not use fonts that are difficult to read. So like Nicole and I said, we have that accent font, but we're not writing all of our text in it because that makes it very difficult to read and nobody's going to read it. So a lot of mistakes that I see people make is they're trying to do too much with their designs. So obviously this one font here, they could have just used that for the display font and used a more legible font for the main text, but they didn't. So as you can see, I wouldn't read that. To me, that's really overwhelming. The next text here, a lot more easy to read. It definitely is not English. I don't know what it is, but you can clearly see it's a lot more legible to read. So make sure that you can read your messages.
And if you are struggling to figure out what works together, because some people, not everybody has that aesthetic eye, and that's okay. But what you should do, look at you. Look at you. I didn't know you were coming with this. So
yeah.
What I was gonna say is you can look up, like go on Pinterest and look up font combos. But Nikki, take over.
Yeah, font combos. So Pinterest is a great resource. And also TikTok, believe it or not, if you're trying to learn some new Canva hacks, look up Canva on TikTok. I have learned so many new things through different people on TikTok on different things to do on Canva. It's ridiculous. But Pinterest, a great resource as far as different fonts that pair well with each other. These are just a few that, and feel free to take a picture of it if this helps, but you can look it up on Pinterest. Don't overlook font spacing. If the fonts are too squished together, it's going to be hard to read. So again, you're going to have that issue there. If they're too far apart, you're going to lose the message because it's going to appear as two separate entities. So font spacing is very important. But as you can see here, don't be afraid to play around with a script font and a sans font or anything of that sort. There are a lot of fonts that work really well together.
I would say too, with the, like, can you go back one more, Nikki? Sorry.
Yeah. No,
if you like notice some of these like script fonts, like the more cursive fonts, I've seen people who've tried to space them apart, and when they become like their own letter, it looks really funky. So
it looks weird.
Yeah, keep those fonts together. So that's like why when I use my Everyone Deserves a Place to Call Home, I space those letters out depending on what I'm designing. And then I keep that cursive font together to make sure it all still flows like a pen would flow when you're writing it.
That's a very good point. All right. So don't use distracting elements. So when you're trying to use too many colors, fonts, or actions, you create sensory overload. As you can see in these pictures, it's kind of overload for me. There's way too many colors. It's very distracting. It looks super busy. So my rule of thumb, like with design, it's always stick with 3, like the rule of 3. So stick to using no more than 3 colors. No more than 3 colors, no more than 3 fonts. When you use too many fonts, they just fight for attention. Okay, so setting up your social media. Again, you want everything from your brand to translate into your website, into your social media, into your LinkedIn, all of that, so that if somebody goes to any one of those sources, it's consistent throughout. You don't have, totally different colors on your LinkedIn background than you do from your Facebook or what have you. So make sure it's consistent. Things that you're going to need to design: your Facebook profile picture, your cover photo, your image posts, your content design, Twitter, whether it's your Twitter header, your image posts, Instagram, your highlight icons, all of those things should be on brand with the rest of your marketing material.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go for it.
So when creating the Canva templates, do you think it's better to use your picture or a logo, like with your name?
Depends. For me, I would say it depends on what the template's for. I think you could do both. On some of my templates, I have my photo. It always has my logo, but sometimes I'll plop my photo in and sometimes I won't. And that's like with just solds or, under contract. I try not to put my photo on everything because then I feel like it's too repetitive. But I definitely have my logo on everything and then just kind of sprinkle photos in whenever.
And also check with your brokerage. Like Sierra, you can do whatever you want with our brokerage, but some other brokers and teams require certain things on all social media posts. So verify with your broker if there's anything specific that you have to put on there. I agree with Nikki though. I think you need a combination. Like, don't do every single thing. Like, I don't put my logo on everything. I try to put my photo on stuff. Sometimes I do just my logo. Sometimes you rotate. You don't want it to be the same thing every single time, or people are going to get bored. So I think it's important to have some variety. So like Nikki has multiple different templates. You might want to do the same.
And like, I have multiple different photos of myself, but they're all in black and white clothing generally. So while it may be a different pose or a different picture, it's still on brand with my color scheme. So it's just kind of creating a little bit more of interest per se.
Thank you. I want to create a logo because I've been using just my picture and I've been using the same picture for everyone. So I didn't know if I should use different pictures or if I should switch it up. So that's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So also look at setting up other online forms and create your own digital assets. So you need to think about what your email signature is going to look like. Your email signature shouldn't just be you typing your name in. It needs to reflect your brand. It needs to reflect what you're trying to portray. So this is an example of what my email template looks like currently. And then it links to all of these different Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Zillow reviews. And then my website, let's see if I think I created yes. Okay. So, nope. I thought it was going to take me to my website.
Back up. I was going to say really quick. I just got an email the other day from somebody who was using Comic Sans as their like font in their email. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is not 1998 anymore. Like, let's not use that font. It's not, in my opinion, it's just not a professional font.
It reminds me of like a teacher font, like something like when you were learning to write and the teacher had that thing, like the 3-line thing, and you had to like connect all the that's what it reminds me of. Again, fonts are very important to you. That doesn't remind you of a professional font. Very true. A lot of people probably would look at that. So think about your font choices and don't be afraid to get other people's opinions because, and ask several people so that you get the majority ruling of what, you know, how your brand is going to be portrayed, whether that's your text or logo, whatever.
I would even say, you guys, if there's anybody on this call or anybody who watches this call and you want an opinion, post it on Modern Agent Blueprint. We will give you, we'll critique you in a nice way. We'll critique it if you have questions on it. I mean, we would love to do that. I mean, Nikki with her design eye and, you know, all the people in the group, put up a couple different options. We're happy to help. Like, that's what this whole group is for.
Exactly.
How about taking it one step further, Nikki? Would you be interested, and I'm putting you on the spot, to do a boot camp? I think that whoever would be interested in Nikki doing a boot camp, put a thumbs up or say yes in the comments right now. And if we get more than 10 people right now, we'll have Nikki do a boot camp.
Yeah, that would be fun.
1, 2, 3.
They're coming. They're coming.
Look at you, Nikki. You are a rock star. Look at all these yeses.
It's fun being able to collaborate together. I've always been of the mindset that like collaboration helps you grow. That's how you develop, you know, great thoughts. You don't do it just by yourself, you know? So yeah, for sure.
All right. We have an overwhelming response. So it looks like we're going to book a
Nikki, you're rock star status.
All right. Boot camp it up. All right. What's next here? Okay. So next, creating all of your deliverables. Okay. So obviously creating your social identity and brand is important, but you have to think about those tangible items too, because you're still going to be handing out business cards and tangible things like thank you cards. And if you aren't, you need to be, because people still love handwritten thank you cards. Like, you're taking time out of your day specifically for them. So think about the things that you are tangibly delivering to people. So for me, you know, some of these were my guides. I'm a big guide person. When I meet with my buyers, I hand them a guide on exactly how the process is going to work with working with me. So there are no like false expectations. Everybody's on the exact same page. Things tend to flow a lot smoother. As you can see in that picture, my business card is in there, my guide's in there. I have my keychain in there. I have some bottles of wine that I've branded to myself. Everything is cohesive with my brand, just translated in different forms. This picture of me with a folder, that's my listing folder that when I go on appointments, everything is in there. Again, on with brand colors, has my logo on it, all of that. Even my car, my brand new car, I love it. Obviously, it looks like the Range Rover. I drove the Range Rover. I hated it. So I had this car painted to look like a Range Rover. It is on brand with my brand. Hopefully when people see it, they know it's me. If they don't, they will when I drive past, because my real estate or my license plate says realtor on it. So they'll know eventually. Gifts are huge. It's a great way to show your personality, your branding. You know, this is different gifts that I've had. One says your designer realtor, me holding a sold sign, offer accepted, but they're great ways that you can incorporate into social media, show a little personality. Again, on brand. And then new thank you cards that I just did. Please, while it may be slightly cheaper to just go buy thank you cards at the store, you can create your own thank you cards in Canva and brand them specific to you. People are going to keep them. You know, I sent a thank you card 4 years ago to a lender, and he still had it at his desk because he was like, it's so cool. It was, you know, branded specifically to you. So they will definitely keep those things. And that's what you want, because then they're going to constantly remember you. That's it, guys. That's how to reach me. Feel free to take a look at any of my social media. I just started a YouTube channel, so I'm starting to do some YouTube videos. That's another cool thing that you can do to get exposure. Again, another way to stay on brand. but feel free to take a look at my stuff, get inspiration from it. And if I can answer any questions, I'm happy to.
Let me tell you too, really quick so your thank you cards, that's such a good idea. I use ones from Target. So why not just have them branded? And you guys, I don't know if anyone's ever printed from Canva. The quality is so good. And they always say it's going to take like 7 to 10 days. And they always come within like 4 days. So like if you print from Canva, it's like, I think it's cheap and it's great quality.
I just ordered, so I've never printed from Canva. I just printed from Canva. I have not got them yet, but I was so impressed with how easy it was to submit the order, and it was really cheap. So I'll let you know how it turns out, but I'm excited about it, and they couldn't have made it any easier. Oh, Natalie says you can actually pick up from FedEx too. That's good to know. Okay. Oh, I did see that there was an option to pick up or ship. Now I understand where I would be picking up from.
Oh, so they would actually print it at FedEx and you'd,
I think
that's awesome.
so.
I didn't know where the pickup was. I assumed it was like, I don't know, in California or something.
Yeah, I didn't know either. That's good to know.
No, for sure. Well,
Awesome.
I am super excited. I hope this gave you guys a whole bunch of like ideas on different things. And really, I mean, Nikki, you're so consistent across the board. Like I remember every time you post something that you have made, like I remember messaging you about those wine bottles. I was like, give me all your stuff. Like I want to do everything you're doing. You are the queen. And then those mugs that you did last year they were so cute. Such a smart idea. Look,
I have one.
and it's so cute. You did. So she did those, you guys. Like, I know we're getting really close to Christmas and, doing your like gifts. She did those last year with the mug with a little chocolate bomb. What are those? The hot chocolate bombs.
Yeah.
And had our assistant deliver them to her client's house. And it was just the cutest thing. It's just, it's planning. And
then people would take pictures of the mug in front of their Christmas tree and tag me in social media. I still have clients that when they're drinking out of their mug, they'll like tag me. I'm like, yes, this is great.
Hey, ladies, we have someone online, Yvonne, that wants to ask a question.
Okay.
So let me see.
Can you get to it, or you want me to try? Does anybody, while we're waiting, does anybody else have any questions about anything right now that since we're going to?
Yes. I have more questions. So for social media, if I'm going to brand my social media now, would you recommend I just like delete everything that's on there and start over? Or should I just start like the new color scheme and new branding from what I have now, just start it now?
I would keep everything you have, but do a brand relaunch and market it like that. Hey, I'm launching, I just did a brand relaunch. I'd love for you guys to follow along, make a huge to-do over it. But yes, definitely don't delete what you have. I think it's a great way for people to kind of see how you've developed and changed.
It's the transformation of the progress. I mean, I agree. I would not delete what you have. I would just start. I think it's a great idea to do a relaunch. I mean, maybe you could start now, or if you want to wait to the boot camp and come up with a bunch of stuff, or just start digging in now. For those of you who don't know, on Canva, if you have Canva, I don't know if you have it in the free, but definitely in the paid, there's all the templates. So what I do is, if you guys have a few minutes or you have a half hour, 20 minutes, go through and just start liking. There's little stars. You could star all the different templates you like, and I'll save it to a folder. And then you can go through and say like, okay, like, look at, this is what I'm liking. How can I work this into my brand? So I think that's another really good way to come up with a template that you love. And don't, like we said before, like, don't feel like this is like it forever. You can always add something new. If your vision changes a little bit and you want to do, instead of hexagons, now you want to do ovals, or you want to do something different, you always have that option to change.
So we have some live comments from the live feed, and Yvonne said you can pick where you want to have your items printed locally. And she just typed 5 things in a row. She had 1,000 items printed for 22 cents each, which is the cheapest, best quality that she's seen.
And that was at FedEx.
Let's see here.
Through Canva.
She didn't say it was FedEx, but you can choose where you want to have your items printed locally. So you can choose, from other types of printers.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be FedEx.
Gotcha. Cool.
That's great to know.
Thank you so much, Nikki.
Yes,
Guys,
you're welcome.
keep an eye on the Modern Agent Blueprint page on Facebook. We'll have it on our socials when we get closer, but we're going to come up with a time where Nikki will do a boot camp, a whole branding and marketing boot camp. This is so exciting.
That'd be
I would
great.
like to do it in the next 2 weeks if possible, just because people like starting the new year, they want to start with their new brand. Do you think that we could make?
You?
Yeah,
make that happen?
we can figure something out.
Am I putting you under pressure?
I should be able to figure it out.
You are a rock star.
Well, you
Don't
guys-
forget to like me on social media if you don't. Let's build those followers and I'll follow you back.
Yes, I love it. And then, so you guys, this is all something that we want to make sure that, we're providing to you guys consistently. We always want to bring value. Nikki has been a partner in Modern Agent Blueprint for a while. If you've seen her before, she does a great job. We're super excited to have a boot camp coming up. And then if anybody is interested in finding out more about what we offer and as part of our EXP team or group, if you're interested in finding out a little bit more, send us a message, and we are super duper excited to have you guys come on for the next one. And Lee, do you know what the one is next week? Because I don't off the top of my head.
I think I'm gonna try to get Isaiah Colton on to talk about some of his new products that are launching, and then the week after that, we're going to talk about town sites, which is amazing. It's the digital mayor product that we've been working on for over a year, and we are getting ready to launch. And it's going to be an amazing product to really help you be successful at a hyper local level. I mean, I'm super excited about that.
It is really amazing. So I'm excited for everyone to see that. We've been working on it for a really long time, and I say we because I help with it, but Lee's been the mastermind behind that. And it is it's going to be a turnkey product for Facebook for marketing yourself as the go-to person in your neighborhood and in your market. So it is definitely one that you don't want to miss. So, and those of you who don't know who Isaiah is, who he was just talking about, Isaiah is a national real estate coach. He's amazing. We've partnered with him in our group, and he has been providing tons of value. He's been on some of these masterminds before, top-notch stuff. So our group is called Modern Agent Blueprint, and he has the blueprint for success. And we use that every single day for our businesses. So I hope you guys join us next time. Everybody have a great Thanksgiving, and remember, we're paying it forward. So
Paying it forward today or tomorrow, or on Friday too. But let's have some good stories next week.
Yes.
Why don't we post the stories? If we get a good one, post it in the Modern Agent Blueprint page, because I would love to see people's stories.
Yes. My son today had his I am grateful assembly, or I am thankful for. And all these kids I was in tears because I'm super emotional, but all these kids were like, I'm thankful for my mom. I'm thankful for my dad. And my son was like, I'm thankful for video games.
So funny story. At Thanksgiving, I make everybody around the table go around and say what they're thankful for. And everyone had such thoughtful things to say. And here's my daughter. She's like, I'm thankful for sour cream. She's obsessed with sour. And she had a huge chunk of it on her plate. It was so disgusting. But I'm like, really? Sour cream?
That's hilarious. Kids are so funny. One of the kids in Adam's class said he was thankful for aviation.
Okay, me too.
I like to fly too. All right.
I love it. That's awesome.
The kids are hilarious. All right, guys, have a great Thanksgiving. Pay it
Thank
forward.
you so much.
And I look forward to hearing some of the stories of what you guys do to pay it forward. So I love the idea. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you so much.